As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner YouGov offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more.
And so let me share this story here, because the headline is NZXT raises $100 million for PC gaming hardware and gaming lifestyle brand. NZXT, according to the article, founded in 2004. They raised $100 million. Francisco Partners led the round. They're based in California. They're going to use it, according to this, for strategic expansion. The CEO said the boom in gaming came from the lockdowns, also led to a boom in sales of PC gaming rigs and other associated gear. And they've never taken on an investor. So since 2004, they've never raised any outside capital. This will literally be the first investment to bring on more talent, expand their product offering, etc. They also had Kevin Lin invest in this round, co-founder of Twitch. Patrick Lee, co-founder of Rotten Tomatoes. James Lin, the co-founder of Crunchyroll. Eddie Hartman, the co-founder of LegalZoom. Like the list goes on and on. Kevin Ma, the founder of Hypebeast. So like a very long list of, very well-known people in the tech and gaming world. And it's $100 million round for a hardware company. I mean, do I need to put up the profit was right when it comes to these, when I said we need to pay attention to the gaming hardware businesses? What do you guys think of this? Jeff, Lindsay, do you have thoughts?
I'm surprised I'm shocked this is their first round being a hardware business, and having been around since 2004. I mean, that's pretty wild to have been around that long and not have to do an investment round, especially hardware, because it's just capital intensive to build things. So that's my initial thought. Kudos to you for being right. I do think, gaming hardware has been a hot category. Question is, was there so much pull forward during the pandemic? I think we have seen some of the kind of gaming hardware stocks pull back. We did a story a few weeks ago about, forget the company, but they were getting, they had kind of been beaten up and were potentially being taken private. Which one was that? Was it
Razer?
Didn't remember. Razer.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think Logitech stock prices kind of come off a bit. So is it sort of like the best is kind of behind them?
Can I just mention one thing, Jeff, to a point you raised? In the article, it says, it's quoting the CEO, okay? And he says, when I mentioned hardware, 70% of the VCs would run away. And when I said PC, another 70% of the remaining people would run for the hills. So like to your point about, I'm surprised they've never raised, like maybe it wasn't by choice either, right? Lindsay, I don't know if you have thoughts on NZXT.
When I saw this, I actually also thought about Razer, and I thought about how Razer has moved into creating some more lifestyle products. And we've talked about how even if those aren't really successful, it's at least kind of a dip in the water and they're trying their hand at it. The only thing that makes me nervous about this fundraising is the amount, just because there's not a lot of hardware brands that currently have a ton of lifestyle things out there. And like with a company like Razer, you can kind of test things out and do sort of fun runs of things like caffeine gum and finger gloves and all of that stuff without really too much risk. Obviously, the risk just increases when you're talking about a $100 million pot instead of a one-off little project or something fun to engage your audience. So someone's got to be first, though. So I guess they're the ones taking the dive.
I want to push a bit because the whole part, like I loved this announcement, right? I think NZXT makes some great products. I'm a big fan of some of their cases and things like that. Like they make great like CPU coolers, like that. They are very strong in a number of categories, and I think they make some very, very good products. I think what surprised me was, and maybe this was the journalist taking, creative liberty here, but the headline said not NZXT raises 100 million for PC gaming hardware. The headline was NZXT raises 100 million for PC gaming hardware and gaming lifestyle brand.
Yeah.
And sort of the business question I have for you guys is, why does everything need to be a lifestyle brand? Why wasn't this good enough as a PC gaming hardware company and just owning that, right? And making really great hardware? Why does it always need to be a lifestyle brand? And I don't know, Jimmy, if you have thoughts on that.
Yeah, 'cause I've also been a fan of these guys for a long time. I can tell you they've been bookmarked on my Chrome browser forever. I have a couple of friends that have these builds, and big fan of what they do. And also, I think I just want to say, it's worth mentioning, they've been around for before 2004, just doing what they've been doing up until this point. That's really commendable, right? That's hard to do, to stay in business for that long in such a niche space and to do it successfully. So, hats off to that whole organization. Yeah, and then to the point, why does everything have to be a lifestyle brand? Maybe that's just the catchy word that gets the dollars these days. Maybe, Holodeck is going to be this media company and lifestyle brand, we'll pivot in the next 6 months.
I think it is it not?
Yeah, are we not already a lifestyle brand? Come on.
Media.
It's such a vague catch-all. And without seeing what that looks like, it's hard to even comment on it. I'm looking at their products online right now, from not just these custom builds and peripherals, but to this collaboration they did with Mass Effect and some desktop organizers and things. And I don't know what that means. I think what it all boils down to, and I love giving him credit because we're a big fan of Clinton Sparks on this show. Clinton, a good friend of Paul's and mine. And, Clinton said months ago, he goes, the way hip hop was the nexus of pop culture for the last 20 years, that's going to be gaming for the foreseeable future. And I think when you put that back in your mind and you look at what anyone is doing in the gaming space, it all starts with attracting a community, right? And then pushing that community in whatever direction you're running with, whether it's education, like our guest on our show today from Evolve Play, or tomorrow, depending on when you're listening to this podcast or the live show, education or merch or content creators. It still starts with community. So being a lifestyle brand, I don't know, gaming is the lifestyle, I suppose. And it's just such a vague catch-all that I think we all find disagreeable. But it doesn't take away, I don't think, from the fact that this is a great company doing great things for a long period of time. And I have every confidence that they're going to be able to do something cool with so much money.
How much of this do you think was the journalist? And how much do you think here was the company's own sort of marketing department? I'm curious.
That's a great point, because for example, when I joined up with XSET, the journalist put on the headline, esports expert, Jimmy Barata joins XSET Gaming. And we all just rolled our eyes because, as everyone who listens to the show, no one's an expert in this space. It's all getting made up as it goes along. It's a new space where, call me a strategist, call me anything else. So I think some of it is definitely, a thumb stopping kind of clickbaity thing for sure.
Former Mastro's server, Jimmy Barata. That's an inside joke for everyone.
Let me read some of these guys. Matt says this is basically a better version of 100 Thieves, be a hoodie org and also a hardware manufacturer, and just slap your cool logo all over those products. I agree. In some ways, I get more excited about the hardware companies, even though they're phenomenally more difficult businesses than the orgs even, right? You have to deal with returns and the hardware that doesn't work and all kinds of, building hardware and selling hardware is not trivial at all. Matt says, no need to mess around with esports teams like 100 Thieves or FaZe Clan. Totally different businesses, Matt. Chris says, Corsair did 100 million IPO last year and they have a firm hold on market share. Lifestyle is just the new term for branding. Yeah. Chris, that, if anything, that makes my point even stronger, which is I love Corsair. I love NZXT, right? I think these are great companies that make great hardware. But I personally wouldn't put their logo on my backpack, right? I think they're known for their great products more than their brand. I would argue 100 Thieves or FaZe Clan is far more likely to make money off just their brand. I don't know if you guys agree with that.
I mean, it's a good point. What I'd say is, maybe they're trying to change that. And one of the cool things about what they're doing, or about what I had shared earlier, I think, in terms of cultivating that community and then pointing them in a direction. These guys have 125,000 people in their Discord right now, and I think that's just. I mean, we all know how hard that is. It's a lot, especially for a niche, custom PC company. So again, maybe they're trying to change that brand, that image, and get on more backpacks. Maybe they'll do a collab with FaZe. We don't know. They did a collab with Mass Effect. So who's off the table at that point? Really, not many people.